I've watched business owners struggle when applying for credit with their bank. It's not that they couldn't fill out the forms or provide the necessary information. It's trying to understand how the bank is going to look at their financial information and rate them for creditworthiness. The Business Credit Scorecard solves this problem. The Business Credit Scorecard rates a company's financial situation based on the 5 C's of credit. There are variations to this system, and we'll cover that later in this video. Let's look at an overview of the Business Credit Scorecard and see how it works. The Business Credit Scorecard uses the 5 C's of credit, which are cash flow, collateral, conditions, capital, and character. It then translates these into a point scoring system that can be used to rate the credit risk of a company. First, each category is given a weight or a percentage which indicates how much reliance is put on each of the categories. Inside each category, there are subcategories which have both a weight and a grade scoring for each subcategory. The grade scoring contains grades A through F, which rank how well the company is doing in a particular category. This is then translated to an overall point score for the category. The scores of each of the 5 categories are then weighted and averaged to arrive at a blended score to determine the risk of the credit. The blended score is ranked on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the best and 10 being the worst. Let's take a look at an example. When we look at cash flow, the most common measure is the debt service coverage ratio. This ratio can be measured based on historical numbers or forecasted numbers or a blend of both. In this situation, you can see that we've rated this historical debt service coverage ratio with a grade of B and the forecasted cash flows with a grade of A. Setting a 100% reliance on the historical debt service coverage ratio, which is rated as a B, translates to a 5 on the credit grading level. This means the forecasted cash flows have a 0% weight on them with an A rating. The A rating is given because the forecast indicates that the company will improve its profitability going forward. Now we'll change the historical weight from 100% to 70%. This will allocate 30% to the forecasted cash flows and in turn improve the credit score from a 5 to a 4. If we change the historical weight from 70% to 50%, the forecasted cash flow weight will be 50% and the credit score will improve to a 3. Each category has a series of components that have both weight and grade levels which determine overall point score for the category. Each category works very similar to the cash flow scenario we just looked at. Now let's look at how we utilize the scores in each one of the 5 categories. This is the Business Credit Scorecard dashboard. This starts with the ratings created in the scorecard and translates them into the graph on the left. As you can see, we have a score for each of the 5 categories of cash flow, collateral, conditions, capital, and character with an overall blended score. You can see the 3 rating for the cash flow which we just adjusted in the scorecard. Each one of the ratings for the categories are listed here on a graph which helps us visualize the strengths and weaknesses of the credit categories. The box just to the right of the graph contains scores and risk ratings that a lender would use. The slide bars to the right of the box are the flexible portions of the dashboard that a lender can change based on their internal preferences. In this model, we've defined cash flow and collateral as the financial characteristics, and condition, capital, and character as the descriptive characteristics. The first slide bar gives weight to either the financial or descriptive characteristics. The second slide bar allocates reliance on collateral or cash flow, the two financial characteristics. The pie chart to the right indicates how much weight is given to both the financial and descriptive characteristics. We're starting with a 30% weight on the descriptive characteristics and 70% on the financial characteristics. The bar chart at the bottom right indicates how much weight is given to each one of the 5 categories based on the dials as adjusted by the bank. Let's start making some adjustments and see how this affects the credit score. Right now we're starting with a credit score of 3.90. The first thing we're going to do is adjust the weight on the financial and descriptive characteristics. We'll move the bar down to put most of the weight on the financial characteristics. Doing this has increased the score to 3.93. Now we're going to adjust the collateral and cash flow sidebar to put most of the weight on the cash flow. Which has the better score. Doing so has improved our score to 3.45. In the horizontal bar below, you can see that 80% of the weight is put on the cash flow and 20% is put on collateral. Now we'll go to the capital section and increase the reliance on capital. Since capital had a strong rating of 1 and we increased reliance on this category, our score has improved to 3.07. A bank has some discretion to adjust these levels within reason when evaluating the credit risk of a company. The limitations of these categories come from both regulations and internal portfolio management restrictions established by the bank. The discretionary portion based on the bank's internal management policies is what makes a bank different in its lending approach to businesses. This is why a company could be attractive to one bank and not attractive to another.